The Meck deck? Yeah, that's pretty much. Let me tell you about Charlotte, North Carolina. Beautiful city, great barbecue, named after a British queen. That last part matters because Charlotte, literally named after the wife of King George III, also claims to be the birthplace of American independence. A full year before Philadelphia, a full year before Jefferson, a full year before anybody. There's just one problem. No one can prove it happened. Here's the story they tell. On May 20th, 1775, 13 months before the Declaration of Independence, a group of Mecklenburg County citizens allegedly gathered in Charlotte and declared themselves free from British rule. Bold, dramatic, historically significant. They called it the Mecklenburg County Declaration of Independence, or what we refer to as the Meck Deck. North Carolina loves this story so much, we put it on the state flag. It literally is on the flag, permanently, in gold. There's one small issue. The original document doesn't exist. Now, documents burn, archives flood, stuff gets lost. That's fair. History is messy. We don't hold that against anyone. But here's where it gets interesting. The document allegedly burned in 1800. It was a house fire, very convenient. And the only surviving account of what it actually said didn't surface until 1819. That's right, 1819. That's 44 years after the event. 44 years of nobody mentioning this bombshell declaration that predated the founding of the entire country. 44 years of silence from the people who were supposedly there. Now in 1819, a man named
Joseph McNitt Alexander
produces his father's notes from memory. His father was the secretary at the alleged 1775 meeting. The notes burned, he said, but he remembers them, more or less. He publishes them in a newspaper. People get excited. North Carolina gets very excited. Thomas Jefferson, he gets suspicious. Jefferson reads the published Meck deck and notices something uncomfortable. It sounds a lot like his Declaration of Independence. Not inspired by, not similar to, phrases that are nearly identical to the document he wrote in 1776. Jefferson, who was still alive in 1819 and takes this kind of thing personally, writes to John Adams and basically calls it a fabrication. His exact argument is that nobody could have written those phrases before 1776 because those phrases didn't exist until he wrote them. Think about that for a second. The evidence that the Meck deck is real is that it sounds like the Declaration of Independence. And the reason it sounds like the Declaration of Independence is almost certainly because it was written after the Declaration of Independence. So while there may not be a confession or even a nefarious purpose, there is both a smoking gun and a bullet hole. Now here's what historians generally believe actually happened. There probably was a real meeting in Charlotte in May of 1775, and something real probably came out of it. We know this because there's a second document, the Mecklenburg Resolves, dated May 31st, 1775. What exists is completely authenticated and is genuinely radical for its time. The resolves basically say this: British law is suspended here. Local militias are in charge. We're running our own show. You can kiss our collective tail feathers, King George, and while you're at it, tell Queen Charlotte of Mecklenburg we're keeping her name as well. That's not nothing. That's actually remarkable. That's a real act of defiance from real people risking real consequences. But it's not a Declaration of Independence. It doesn't use that language. It doesn't make that claim. So somewhere between 1775 and 1819, the story got a bit of an upgrade. The resolves became a declaration. The cautious legal document became a mic drop moment. The real bravery got dressed up in borrowed clothes. And here's the thing about that, and I say this with genuine affection for Charlotte, that's such a human thing to do. Your town did something brave and real, and nobody outside the county noticed. The other guys got a national holiday and a Lin-Manuel Miranda musical. You got a historical footnote with a big old asterisk next to it. So maybe 40 years later, when a guy is going through his late father's papers and trying to piece together what happened at that meeting, maybe the memory gets a little sharper than it should. Maybe the language gets a little more dramatic. Maybe May 31st becomes May 20th and the resolves become a declaration because dagnabbit, they were there and they deserve credit. Look, no one sets out to build a myth. They just stop correcting them. The date, May 20th, 1775, is and will remain on the North Carolina state flag. The Meck deck is in the North Carolina State Archives. Charlotte throws a festival every year called Meck Deck Day. And somewhere, Thomas Jefferson, who spent 50 years defending his authorship of the Declaration of Independence, is absolutely losing his mind. The Mecklenburg Declaration of Independence. Tall tale, real bravery, fake receipt. Still one heck of a local story if you ask me.